Hi guys, so I'm going to make a video now which is exceedingly important on how the mind works. And this is, I don't think, well maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think anybody has ever mentioned this and understanding of the mind. So there's an author called Ian McGilchrist, I think, that wrote The Master and His Emissary. He did a most recent book now on the right and left hemisphere of the brain, so it might be worth a read. It tells you about the structures of the world and the structures of the way that they manifest within the psyche, the right and left hemisphere of the brain. Obviously there's differences and nuances for male and female as well, but essentially the left part of the brain organises things and the right part of the brain puts that together in a jigsaw puzzle. So the left part of the brain is due process, and the right part of the brain is sort of ethically putting that due process together, so to speak. It does lots of other things, etc, etc. I'm not a scholar on these matters, but regardless, I have an understanding of it, a good understanding of it. The brain in the right and the left side, so the right hemisphere puts together your moral issues, your ethical issues. It understands things, it puts together understanding, it puts together the jigsaw puzzle, and in the mind, the body and the soul, and the relationship with the emotions, and so on and so forth. The left hand side of the brain is structure in order to get on and build and put your one foot in front of the other, but both are equally confused, and that's where free will comes in. So I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible, but it really is something exceptional. Once you start to understand this, you understand that you're not just a discombobulated, gooey mess of nonsense that doesn't make any sense at any given time on any day, but actually quite the opposite. But it's being able to decipher that, which I think has sort of been the propensity to not being able to do so for humans for the last, well, however long they've been around. So there's light and dark energies, and they work in ways, the dark energies work in ways to confuse you, and the light energies work in ways to help you with your due process and your understanding. So, but the dark energies manifest on both hemispheres of the brain. People hear things in different areas of the brain. For example, we all have our sort of inner narratives and so on and so forth, and we listen to them sometimes, and sometimes we don't, and most of the time we probably don't. We go through our life, and you know, it only comes at times where we're in adversity. So if somebody starts a fight with you, you'll hear a voice to say what you should do or what you shouldn't do in that circumstance. Or if you have a car accident, you know, you basically, when you go on autopilot, you work with the sort of, how would you put it, your natural predisposition as opposed to your contrived predisposition. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is light and dark energies confuse on both sides, so you can become confused in both hemispheres of the brain very easily, even with simple things. So you make a meal and you cook the meal, and you know the meat doesn't it smells a bit off. You wash the meat, you cook it, and then you think, oh, shall I eat it or not, because it's could be poisonous to me or something. And then you get a voice and you say, oh no, don't eat that, that's not healthy. Or you get a gut feeling, or you get, you know, that sort of thing, an intuition, and it's coming through the maybe it's coming through your gut, maybe it's coming through the left or the right hemisphere of the brain. Hard to explain, but hopefully you're following. But it's not always right, but sometimes it is, and that's where I would say it's 80-20, but it depends on your nuances for how well or unwell you are, mentally, physically and spiritually. So, but you do have you have free will in order to say, hey, this is right, this isn't. But you need to explore, what I'm really getting at is you need to explore personally and individually yourself. So any voices in the inner monkey, as some of the religions say. The voices, the chatter that come in your mind, the good ones, the bad ones, the indifferent ones, and so on and so forth, the narratives, and perhaps, you know, some of the, all of it. But you must understand that one should, perhaps, I wouldn't say negotiate, but you can negotiate with the inner voices to God, let's say, but it's understanding what are the different ones, or the inner voices to the light energies as opposed to the dark energies. And you can in turn negotiate with the dark energies too, not that you want to negotiate, but i.e. you want to say thank you very much for what the bad things that are showing you is they're showing you in a way that you don't want to travel. So everything is basically for your benefit if you know how to construct, but you learn that by learning yourself, and it's a daily task which is day in, day out, constantly, which runs in the background. And most people obviously probably wouldn't have the calorific intake to, you know, start to do all of this whilst bringing up their children, whilst doing all the rest of it. But you have to do it because it's so important to be on that moment, to understand yourself primarily, and then you understand all, and you understand others and what's going on in their worlds. You really can understand that, because then you're in a situation where there's only seven different types of character or personality traits, and we all have a propensity to all of them anyway. So once you understand yourself, you understand the world, and things that become very interesting. Anyway, I hope this makes some sense. It's a very, 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 very difficult subject, but hopefully I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. But in a quick summary, you've got the left and the right hemisphere, and they both have narratives, but it's understanding those narratives in relation to your mind, body and soul, and understanding what the narratives are telling you, and negotiating with them in a way to at least recognize what the substance is there, and then your free will upon that substance, and the way to appease / comprehend and understand and I want to say succeed, but I don't think it's succeed. It's have the joy that's within there cast upon the whole system, and water down the darkness, and by understanding all of this, that takes place. So the vessel becomes diluted, and I think that's what the Buddha and others are suggesting when you lose your ego. But of course you don't lose your ego, you just understand it better, therefore you've retrained it better, therefore it's more light energies rather than dark energies, and doesn't have the lingering dark energies hanging around waiting to pounce. Okay, take care, thank you, peace.